May as well. I want to. My big thing is I forget to record,
Oh,
and then
get the whole
about two
thing done.
thirds of the way through, it's like, damn, forgot to do that.
Nice.
But anyway, Scott should be joining us shortly. He was setting up his camera and stuff, and Richard usually jumps in somewhere along the line, and who knows who else might do it. I mean, I publicized it often enough, so we'll see what happens. So
Nice.
that's your showroom behind you.
No, no.
That's a photograph of a showroom behind you.
That's a photograph of Sanma's uh showroom.
Okay.
And then it's adapted with my thing on. I put this together before I started using AI, so it's actually just a Photoshop photo.
Oh, well, it
And
looks really good.
but it's got there's alternative apparel there, which they're gone, so I got to update it. And
Uh-huh.
but yeah, I wish my showroom looked like that. But I didn't want to have my office as the background, and I'll show you. Let's see, how do I do this? Background. No
You have the blurred background.
videos.
Don't feel bad. My background is what it is because I don't know how to do anything else with it.
So this is my office,
Oh, okay. Well, it
and
looks normal at least.
yes, I, I think so. But sometimes people bring their kids in and they start digging around. It's not.
Well, of course they do. I mean, let's face it, everybody has, if you've got a place for a kid to take some snooping around, then they're going to find a way of snooping around. So
Yeah, yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
yep. But I should probably use my more professional view.
That's all up to you. I mean,
I got it. I might as well use it. Let's see videos. But when I did it, do you remember Fred Ribbit?
Fred
Ribbit?
Rivet, I'm not sure.
No, he was a sales rep for Sanmar for many years. His father was an executive with Fruit of the Loom, and he was like a really good sales rep because he knew the garments. He knew, was he wasn't
Right.
some of them they got to look at the color charts and stuff. He would know all of that stuff. But when I set this up a few years back, he has since retired, but I sent him a picture. I says, "Look, I modeled my showroom after your showroom at Sandmar." Hey, Richard,
Hello.
how
Richard,
are
how
you?
are you?
Very good.
Fan is whizzing away behind you. I guess you're having a warmer day there, huh?
Yes. Just
Gina
I'm
puts them up in
upstairs.
the attic.
I'm upstairs lounging.
That's all right. Well, yeah, when you have to remember, as far as garments and purchasing, the last time I purchased garments was probably about 1981.
Oh,
Ah,
wow, wow.
Because after that, I got into sales on screen printing supplies and equipment, and so I worked for a company called Lithotech or Screen Tech for about a year and a half until they cut my commission to the point where I opened up my own place called Bullseye Screen Printing Supplies, and so I had that for 13 years. When I closed that, I just went into full-time consulting, and that's all I've done since. So I get all my shirts for free.
Nice,
Not
nice.
that I need a whole lot of them. I mean, I just need them for the shows. But even with Sandmar, I used to go and speak for Mike Lemberg at JM Business Enterprises. And of course, Marty Lott would stop in periodically since the two of them were competitors, but also friends. And
Uh-huh.
so I do get some shirts from Sandmar for my workshops now, but really I have not had a formal salesperson as far as garments because I just never
Yeah,
needed them.
that's good.
All right, well, there are four of us. Scott is finally making it on. I don't know if anybody else is going to make it on, but I think the four of us could probably have a pretty interesting time, if nothing else.
I would hope so. We got some stories, right, Richard?
I think so.
No, come on. You think we have stories?
I'm trying to get into the meeting here. Let's see.
You're in.
Yeah, but my camera's not on, and my camera's on here.
Yeah, I mean, we could see that you're Scott, but that's about as far as we could see.
Yeah, I tested the camera earlier. I'm using an external camera. Let me see if I. Oh, here we go. It's a checkbox. Oh, that's my camera. Sorry, guys.
That's the funny thing. I think between the four of us, the amount of technical expertise we have probably adds up to a bag of beans.
Well,
No,
I
you
keep
need
getting
to
an
get
error.
need to get a 14-year-old, and then you can figure out how to get all this stuff done.
Definitely so. My camera is marked not working. Hang on. Sorry. Integrated
That's
camera.
because you're probably still in your pajamas and you don't want us to see that.
Well, I was. I had to comb my hair, put on some makeup.
There you
Hey,
go.
we got you.
Yeah,
We
but
see
my
your,
wrong
we see the top of your hat.
I know it's the wrong camera. I have two cameras set up here. Let me see if I can get the other camera going. Let's be pro.
There's the cap.
Yeah, yeah. Hang on here. Come on, baby.
And we got another visitor, Tracy Smith.
Nice.
Tracy Smith is a shirt lab
There you
attendant.
go.
Tracy,
Hello,
in the
guys.
tribe.
Hey
draw the
there.
line. Draw the line.
Working on sublimation today.
All
Nice.
right.
Yep. I like your workout room. Well, your garment room you got there, Ron, even though I know that's a background.
Got you figured out, huh?
I thought I could fool some of these old guys, but I guess not.
There you
I'm
go.
in.
You
I'm
made
in.
it. Ta-da. Whatever
camera
three
that-
hairs you have are all under your hat, so we don't
I'm
get to
pumping
see
my
them
I'm
anyway.
pumping my band today. You know, I'm always
There you
pumping
go,
the
shine
band.
on Floyd.
Nice.
Anyway,
So I
Ron,
should
good to
probably
see
get,
you.
I'm gonna get
Anyway,
rid of my background.
We'll
I feel
formally kick this off that this is Charlie's Corner, and Ron Goodwin is the guest this week. And so really, it's, you know us, we're very informal about everything we do. So it's kind of one of those stupid things of talk about whatever you want. But I did get a text message from John McGee, who's trying to put together a history of textile screen printing. And unfortunately, he's on a meeting call, so he wasn't able to be here. But he wanted me to throw out a couple of things that maybe we could answer for him. Anything to do with significant years, like the first year of any important trade show. And I guess that was
1979 or
SBA.
78. 78, I think, was the first impression.
Is
show.
that 78 was when ISS was the first ISS trade show.
That's what I remember. Because I
Yeah.
started speaking in 79. I didn't go to the first one.
I didn't go to the first one. My ex-partner did. I went to 79 for my first one.
Yeah, that was my first show. I think it was Dallas.
It
Yeah,
was
we
no,
went in a
no.
bus to a
79
barbecue.
was Anaheim, California.
The first one was, I think. But then I thought the second one was Dallas.
Oh, no, I'm taking it back. You're right. It was Dallas. I was thinking of the SPA show that I went to in 78 was in Anaheim.
I think that's where we met, you and I.
Actually, we met formally in London.
Well, I know you always say that. And you're probably right. When my wife's downstairs
Exactly.
dancing with
When,
the Sunday night gay night in London, and it was
Yeah, well, when Pat and I went downstairs
Oh, it's
to
you and Pat. That's right. Yeah,
the
yeah.
nightclub, which turned out Sunday night was gay night. And so the two of us were down there for about 5 minutes and got the hell out of there.
Beyond
I was
heterosexuals.
wondering about you two guys.
Anyway.
But the SPA show, the first one was back in the early 50s, wasn't it?
Well, I
Screen
think
Print
it's
Association.
47. I did a history before they changed the name, and it was 47 or 48 or something.
47. I think you're right. I think it was 48.
But speaking of the ISS show, the second show was Dallas.
Yes.
Pat and I had come out with our book, And I sent a copy to the editor who was Mike Bernstein, didn't know him. And he said,
Okay.
you want to speak? And you know me, what the hell?
Yeah.
We take an overnighter because we didn't travel much and we were broke, and get to Dallas at like 9 in the morning for a 10:30 seminar.
Sorry about that. I think we froze out, Scott. Ron, when was your first show?
So I was at the Dallas
Yesterday.
one. I think we went on a school bus out to the desert for a barbecue. And they had a little rodeo.
Oh, they went out to the ranch from the ISS show.
Yes.
The one that was from TV, I forgot the name of the show. It was at the show on TV, and I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, they did the barbecue and stuff out there. I don't know if I went along with the barbecue.
That was my first time in Dallas, and the boot store sent a limo to the hotel to take us to the boot store, and they gave you free draft beer in the limo and at the
What
boot
was the
store.
name of that place? What was the name of that place? It was some convention.
Shit, I don't remember what I had for breakfast. I don't remember that, but the but I
I do
remember
remember that.
buying boots for myself and my wife, and I think she only wore them once from the
Is that right?
They've been in the closet since. But
That's so funny. A long
Yeah.
time
Yeah,
ago.
what was the name of that show? Jesus. I can
Your fir-
remember, I can see the faces from it, but I can't remember the name.
Of the party?
Well,
Place?
the ranch that everybody was taken to from the
Yeah.
show.
I don't remember that. I just know that the next year he did the England show where you and I met.
Yes, that's
think
where
it
we
was-
met, was in London.
He had a show in London, and all of us who hadn't traveled anywhere in our lives.
Yeah, that was
went,
at the
wow,
bar.
this would be cool. We'll go to London.
Yeah, no,
It was-
we did London twice, actually. We did Barbican Center
Levante Singleton's eye. I
a
smacked
couple
my
of times, and then they did it
She
at
called me a
Wembley,
bad
but I
word.
didn't do that
My
one.
goofy uncle karate chopped my grandpa's broken knee, and he got turned into a
Who
pretzel.
was that? We're getting some crossover here.
I don't know. Yeah,
Um,
Zoom user. I don't know who it is.
Someone's trying to crash our party here.
Could be. I've had it happen in the past. So,
So
yeah.
so Greaves, are you unpacking books or what are you doing?
Well,
he's
I've
always
got
unpacking books.
upstairs here, I have screenings. So the oldest one I had is from February of 1950.
Oh, wow.
And we did a
Okay.
big, when the SGIA, at the final show, we did a big research project in which I used a lot of these to see when the shows were. So just looking for
It's all history now.
evidence of shows.
So Ron, you were in the business that long. I don't know where we met, Ron. We met somewhere.
I think we met there. I think I probably bought your book, the first edition.
You probably did. Is it on your bookshelf behind you?
It's it's at home in the archives. I don't believe it's here, but
I'm looking at your bookshelf to try and see if I can see it behind you.
no, I think it's in a safer spot. But this is one of the first shirts that I sold. I didn't print these. I had other people printing them for
Oh my
me.
God. You could just change the wording on that.
So I
That's
was
good.
I was selling them in the streets of Boston, and a kid at the
That's funny.
Boston College come up to me and says, you're a goddamn capitalist. And I said,
Damn right.
I says, yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. So I got talking to him. I said, so are you a student here or what? He goes, yeah, I'm a student. I says, what are you studying? He goes, business. I said, and you're busting my balls for selling t-shirts on the street?
My massive fucking titties, my super stuffed up milkies, my hunger bonger doinky boinky, my fucking fabric.
Someone's
I
trying
just muted whoever that was.
Oh, there
Wow.
you go. There you go.
Guess they didn't want us laughing.
Too damn bad. They could.
I
They
didn't
could
know
leave.
anybody did impeach Nixon's shirt, so I'm very impressed.
Boobies, my
I
boobies,
used to
my
I used to get I used to buy irregular shirts, and
hunger bonger
back in the day I had a guy contract printing for me in Boston, and that's when we used that ink that was like it was
House
oil
paper.
and water.
Yeah.
I think it was Colonial made it, and you had to mix it up.
It
It
was
would
text dye or something like, yeah, it was oil and water.
and it would
'Cause I-
settle out on you. So
Yeah.
you had, and
Because I used that.
It
I
was
used that before I
textile.
did plastisol.
Yeah, it was text dyes.
Text dye,
And
yeah.
that's what I started with also was actually I started with denim ink because denim ink was air dry.
Yeah.
And the problem was a gallon of white weighed about 20 pounds. And you could beat someone to death with the shirt after it dried. But
it
then,
was like stiff and crusty.
you could crack it.
So I had, when I first started in my parents' cellar, I had clotheslines in the cellar.
Yeah.
And so what I would do is my goal was to fill the clotheslines because then I would take the rest of the day off. But
That's
when I
funny.
got a what you call a conveyor dryer, that changed everything.
Hey, I'm on a Zoom call with Charlie
Yeah,
and friends. Bye. Love you.
I went over to text dyes after denim ink because that was still an air dry. And so, and it was soft. And until I got a hold of my first gallon of plastisol, which I saw at a shop up in New York, and I said Union Ink. And so I came back and kind of researched it and found Union Ink. And so in 78 is when I started using Union Ink and built, bought somebody's homemade dryer and had to rework the whole damn thing. But and then built all my own dryers at that point. But,
yeah, mine was all hot heat lamps. I went into some guy's shop who had built one, and I have big eyes. I look around. Look, I could build that.
My first shop. I went in before I ever knew what screen printing was, and rented 15,000 square feet, figuring if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And so I rented 15,000 square feet. And then it was kind of like, well, what the hell is screen printing or silk screening?
So you don't have a mom's basement story.
It was one of those things. It was in the middle of Bedford-Stuyvesant, which at that time was a rather testy neighborhood, shall we say.
Yeah.
Now, what's kind of funny, the building that I had a total of 30,000 square feet there. I couldn't afford an apartment there now.
Oh, probably.
What I paid for 30,000 square feet in the way of rent wouldn't have gotten me an apartment there now.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's insane. But yeah, kind of the fun things. I figured if I was going to get into this, I'm going to get into it so that I can make some money. That was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, we all started off with something. I bought Colonial for a long time. I can't think of the salesman's name, but he's still around. What was his name anyway? He used to work for
the guy who I was buying from was from NASDAR, and his name was Pete Rasp. I bumped into him last year. His son works at a shop in Wilkes-Barre, and so Pete came down when I was there. And so I hadn't seen him in, I don't know, 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dealt with Colonial as well because, being in New York, Colonial was in New Jersey. NASDAR had an outlet there. Union Ink was there. And then we also did the product testing for two new companies, Triangle Ink in about 1978.
Are they still around?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of who their national sales manager.
Another company called Champion Ink, which I guess is still around also, really small in New York. And we were doing the product testing for them.
Seems to me the Triangle guy that in the last 20 years, a guy named Gordon that I knew from somewhere. He worked for Oh, who knows? Multi-craft or somebody. Oh, we have such history. Tracy's going. Who are these old guys? Turn your volume on, Tracy. We want to talk to you.
I'm just listening. I don't know. Guys are way back from the day.
Oh, we're still alive.
You might not even been born yet.
Charlie and I were joking that I'm the old guy because Charlie is 2 months younger than me. We're both born.
You have to take everything. You have to jump all over those good things.
I know. So anyway, Ron, how old are you? Can you say? Will you say?
No, can I remember? No, I'm 73.
Wow,
just a kid.
Great.
I think then Greaves is younger than that.
Yeah, he's the youngster.
Your volume's off, Greaves.
Yeah, he's definitely
71.
Oh, 71.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's the youngster in the
And Tracy's just out of high school, right?
No, actually, I'm a little older, but I'm not in my 70s.
All right.
I'm in my 50s.
So Charlie and I are both 77. We're both turning 78 here shortly.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, Tracy. You're 70s, you start losing your filters, and you don't worry about a lot
before you
of
get to
stuff.
70, but that's all right.
Yeah, you don't worry about crap anymore. You see me, I would pretty up for these things, but I decided screw it. I didn't take a shower. I wore my hat, and I did shave.
You look good. You look good. You look good. I'm happy to be around so much wisdom.
Yeah, my joke is
it's not wisdom; it's age. That's all.
Is it age?
My joke is I can still rock and roll.
So, Ron, you started out in what year?
It's officially 76, but I was doing it before that. I ran my business and I had a 3-ring binder and I wrote everything down, and I took orders off on napkins in bar rooms and that kind of stuff.
Sure.
So one of my origin stories is I was working as a carpenter and a painter in the island in Nantucket, which is off the coast of Massachusetts, and it's a 1% resort now. It's pretty expensive, but back then it was more diverse, and there were 2 main bar rooms that we hung out at. We were like in our 20s, so there was one by the airport called Preston's, which was where the yuppies went, the kids with the loafers and the Izog shirts and stuff. And then there was another place called the Chicken Box, which was more down home and was like more of the locals spent their time there. So Preston's got some shirts made, which is unheard of then. The people didn't have shirts. It was very rare. But they had a shirt. I won't forget, it was like a tank top, and it had Preston's, the word is boogie, with a little piece of tacky clip art. So I saw that and I went and got, I don't know if you remember those flock letters you could iron on shirts.
Sure, yeah.
So I made a shirt up that said Chicken Box, the word is sleazy. And I wore it into the Chicken Box that afternoon, and everybody there was like, "Oh my God, that's so great. That's so funny." So the owner hears everyone screaming, and he comes out and he sees me, and he's got a big fedora hat on, and he's looking down the bar at me, and he goes, "I want to see you in my office, young man." So I'm like, uh-oh, I screwed up. I finally,
History is made.
So we go into his office and he goes, "I want to get 100 of those." And that was my first sale.
I love it.
Then. I didn't even know, like, I made it at like a mall, buying the letters and stuff. So that got me started. And then I developed a few accounts on the island, and then I developed some in Cape Cod. But I wasn't printing the shirts myself. I had a guy in Boston printing them for me, and a guy on the Cape. And the guy on the Cape was really killing it. He had a big shop, and I think he had like 3 or 4 retail places. But when he did contract work, he'd always put his name underneath the print, Cotton Pickin' Tees. And I'm like, "Paul, I'm reselling these. You can't do that." And he goes, "Well, that's the way it is. That's the way I do it. So if you want to," so I moved away from him and focused more with the guy in Boston. Then I realized I got to learn how to do this. And that's when I went to Lambert's. They were the screen print supply company in Boston, and took a
Yeah.
few courses and figured it out.
Huh.
But starting out, it was, uh, printing on a piece of Formica. I don't know. And if I wanted to do a multicolored job, I'd have a flashlight in a cardboard box so you'd like manually arrange the registration. But
Yeah. I I started out in 76 as well. July 1st, actually, my first shirt was Operation Sale. I was in Brooklyn, and of course, it was the bicentennial, and so printed up a two-color um, tall ship, and
so
so we used either red ringers or blue ringers, white shirt, and two-color print, no real registration issue. But we printed on the long print tables. We didn't have presses.
oh yeah,
And so registration had to be very loose because every time it was made for cut parts, but we would tack down our shirt. But every time you lifted the screen, the shirt would come up and then just kind of settle down. And so we timed it so that the person behind me would have enough time to let the shirt dry enough so that it wouldn't have a pickup problem. But we did thousands of those. I can just remember I had 200-foot tables, and it was 8 2/3 dozen if I did a full round, and we needed to get out like 150 dozen.
wow.
Just about killed us.
So I have a tall ship story. How at that time I was working in a high rise in Boston. I ran a paint crew, and I was talking to one of the people who lived in the tower about I had an idea. I want to do tall ship shirts. And he goes, well, why don't you do it? And I said, well, I don't have the money to get the shirts. And, he goes, well, what do you think you need? And I said, I don't know, $200-300. And he peeled off $300 and handed it to me and said, go for it, kid. And I was like, well, what do you want? He says, I just want you to, pay me back, but I want a shirt. I want one of the shirts. So I got the shirts. We got like white shirts. We printed a one color print on them. I forget how many we did, maybe 200. And we took the subway into Boston, and we had the box of shirts, and we were selling them on the way in the subway and on our way to the harbor front, the waterfront. By the time we got there, we sold all the shirts. So I had the big roll of cash. I thought I was rich. So I said to the guy who was helping me, I said, I got to go pay back this guy that lent me the money, and I gotta give him this shirt. This is for him. So we get in the elevator in this high rise, and the high rise it's Harbor Towers. They're right directly on the harbor. We go up to the penthouse, we ring the bell, and the guy comes to the door, and he's having a full-blown party overlooking the tall ships. And he goes, come on in. So we're in there drinking and doing other things, overlooking the tall ships. It was awesome. And then what I found is that there was a lady in the next block who was selling like souvenir stuff, balloons and all that stuff. And I approached her and said, you should be selling these tall ship shirts. And they had left, but it was still like a big event for Boston.
Oh, yeah.
So she would sell like 200 shirts every other week. And we did that for like 2 to 3 years. Then on the 4th year, she was connected somehow because she had that spot on the harbor front. And so the 4th year, I said, well, we got a plan for this summer. And she goes, oh, my cousin got in the t-shirt business. So I was out. But it was a good run. And then and at one point we made a parody shirt. We called it Small Ships, and it had these little little sailboats in it. Had the scene of the harbor, and then these little things, and we were selling them. And this woman goes, this isn't right. Says small ships. It's supposed to say tall ships. And I was like, lady, we're just making money to go out to lunch. We don't give a shit. But yeah, those were the days. That was fun. I probably had
30 guys, each with duffel bags full of shirts on pretty much every corner that you can think of in Manhattan. And they'd blow through the shirts in no time, come back and say, okay, we need more shirts. It's like, really? I haven't had a chance to recover from the first round. Now you want me to do another round, huh?
It's nice.
Yeah, that was it was a fun time.
It was a good time because shirts were just coming into being, so you got you didn't have any competition, and there was a novelty, so people bought the shirts because they didn't know where else to get them or how to get them. But
exactly.
Yeah, in the 70s, early on we would buy shirts from the dry goods guys, and they would be packaged, like individual, like for retail you have to unpackage all these shirts. I mean, people don't realize that buying shirts now is so different. Back then, even the dry goods guys, they were kind of like, who are you guys?
they cranky, yeah.
They didn't get it at all. And so we would buy. We did luckily have out in Arizona in Casa Grande, there was a lot of cotton fields, and Sears, was it Sears? Or, oh no, J.C. Penney had the heavyweight shirt, and we could buy IR regulars from the mill, but it was tough to get shirts back then. And you're right, there was no competition. There was nobody out there. There was no trade show. Impressions hadn't started. I hadn't written a book yet, and I probably was one of only a handful of printers in Phoenix, and I had, and people were like, "What a novelty! We got shirts, man. That's really cool."
We used to buy Hanes undercolors, and they came in a pack of 3, and it was a white shirt, a yellow shirt, a light blue shirt, and a sand color shirt. So that's 4, but it was those combinations of colors. And we'd have to buy the packs and then unpack them that and we'd say, well, you got to buy yellow shirts. Or this. And they go, no, we want navy blue or red. And
then no, you don't have that today.
Screen Stars came around, and
I bought nothing but Pakistani and Indian shirts because I needed black shirts for the most part because we were doing bootleg rock and roll.
Yeah,
so we would buy like 1,000 dozen at a time.
Wow!
But everything was cash, and so they came.
Were they like 50 cents back then? What were they?
Well, it was in general about $9 a dozen.
Really?
So about
A&G? Were you buying them from A&G?
There was somebody.
Eisner Brothers.
The Lower East Side was part of
Eisner
it, but
Brothers.
also we had a couple of other people that we bought from. And so when you ran out of Pakistani shirts because of quotas, then we'd go over to the Indian shirts, which was usually around November, December, waiting for the quotas to be lifted in January. But I mean, I have photos of my guys sitting on top of like 2,000 dozen shirts, 24 to a bale. And we just
were all bailed up
bales
with
all over the place.
That's funny.
But,
so I did.
Well, you were the big bootlegger, Charlie. I was a tape bootlegger. I got in this business because I bootlegged Dave Pratt tapes, and I traded a guy for a heat press and some transfers for some tapes. And we traded tapes, and I thought this is pretty cool. So I started selling shirts at fairs and carnivals and stuff. But so I was a big bootlegger. Charlie was a bootlegger for sure. Ron, were you a bootlegger?
I mean, that's how I got into this bootlegging.
Yeah.
Oh, so I did I do a road race now. I've done it for 50 years, and it was for the Rotary Club, and the Rotary Club treasurer. Richard's heard this story before, but the treasurer of the Rotary Club was like. He was not a frugal Yankee, but a cheap bastard. And he's, so he kept beating me down. He's go, what's the cheapest shirt you get? So I'm like shopping here, shopping there, and irregulars and doing all this. So I got some shirts, and A&G had like their own private label or something, but you had to buy them in the breakdown 2442.
That was it back then. Yeah.
So I was able to sell the shirts to them printed for $1.65, and I made money. So the shirts came in, and and they come in these burlap bundles with steel bands on them, and we're unpacking them and laying them out, and the size breakdown was all screwed up. It was like 4 small, 4 medium, 2 large, 2 extra, something like that. But the shirts were like cheesecloth. They were so thin. And I was like, oh, Goodwin, you screwed up. You got to tell them there's no magic. It can't be cheap and still be good. So, so they, so there was no time to send them back or do anything else. So we ran the job. I delivered the shirt and I figured this is it. I'm done. They're never going to buy another shirt from me again. And the guy says to me, the runners love these shirts. They were so lightweight. And because they didn't have lightweight shirts then.
Right.
And the next year he says, I want to do those shirts again.
That's
I'm like,
funny.
no.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, some of the early stuff, the stuff that I would buy, the J.C. Penney, those were heavy shirts. You know,
Yeah.
I think it was even called a heavyweight or whatever it was. But yeah, that's funny. But then you had jerseys and other guys who made them really lightweight.
Yeah. I remember buying,
Outfit.
I remember I had to buy seconds because we ran out of Pakistani and Indian shirts. We had to pay $15 a dozen for what I called the Frankenstein shirts with stitches going right across the chest and stuff. And it was like, hey, for rock and roll, you can get away with anything. So just print it.
Call it
The
punk.
best thing about rock and roll bootleg, never had a return.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. Some of the stories we could tell, probably boring, Tracy.
Turn
Your mic on, Tracy.
Jail over some of those. But oh well.
Well,
So-
some good times. Now it's all different, you know, even for me and Charlie, probably. A lot of people don't know who we are because we were kind of, some of us pioneers and laid some groundwork. And now you got all these younger guys who don't know who the old guys are.
Yeah, well, life goes on.
Yeah, I know. And so
Can't do
have
anything about that. Hey,
No.
Well, what about this kid, Ryan?
oh, Ryan,
if I don't, you mind me telling my story on Ryan, he started by selling, as I said, use the word Xerox loosely, copies of my how to print book, bootlegs, and a little starter kit. You know, he started because of me, because he bought my book and he was on, I suppose when he started, probably maybe Craigslist or maybe local, I don't know where he advertised. But he started by bootlegging a little kit, you know, a little one color printer and a backyard light and my book. Now look where he's at. Now look where he's at now. But he's definitely the poster child, and he used to be one of my biggest customers when he had when Ryan had started and U.S.A was selling wholesale to guys like that. We sold him his film, we sold him his ink for the DTGs, we sold him all kinds of stuff. And so he was kind of an up and comer and always kind of a way ahead of us on the internet and online marketing. He was like one of the first guys that really got it because he was younger than the rest of us.
Yeah.
So guys like him and Johnny Cupcakes, it's like Johnny Cupcakes is the next town over from me, and I used to go, these fucking guys, how are they doing it? How do they know these techniques and stuff? And I would be jealous, but as I get older, I go, these kids are just smarter than you. Get over it.
Yeah. I think as I get older, I try and keep as hip as I can, and I got my band, and that keeps me pretty young. But it's sometimes hard. I have to. People always joke, ask your grandkids how to do something, you know, because they know. But Ryanette was like one of the first guys to really embrace the internet and have an online store for products and stuff. I think he did kind of. He made some as he grew. I warned him because you know me, I've had my downfalls, and I warned him after my company closed. I said he started growing really fast. I said, Ryan, you need to slow down. I says, you think you can kill like I felt. You know, you can do anything. You can't do anything wrong, and you step on your knee. You know what? And he did. And so I tried to warn him that it's a disease. You know, when you're entrepreneurial, you want to do everything yourself.
Right. I'm lucky
Yeah.
I'm not afflicted with that. I've always believed in slow growth, and so I haven't really ever grown too much. But
yeah. Well, you know, we all had our day in the sun in terms of do we grow, do we not? We were banging out a lot of product. We weren't making any money, but we were definitely growing, and so we just kept expanding. But as far as putting money in our pockets back then, that just didn't happen for the most part. But it was, when you're young, you kind of look a little bit towards the future saying, yeah, we'll catch up to it eventually. And of course, I'm not sure if you ever
make it
really
up in volume, right?
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? Times have changed, but in any event. So John asked me to throw out another thing. Does uh, this is a funny one. Who printed on black garments first? I couldn't even tell. I know I was one of them, but I don't know who came before me.
I started in 69, 70, and we did some black shirts. But then it was actually, back to the colonial ink. It was the colonial denim ink, hanging shirts to dry. My dryer that I built that had the heat lamps, we could run it through that and run it through 2 or 3 times and be careful stacking them. But there was guys. Look at the Vaseline tones, guys doing bowling shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When I got in the
I don't
business,
know who came, I mean, it was just another colored shirt. It just required a light colored ink.
He needs to have the question. I know he's doing this study, this thing. Who made the first manual press? When I started, there were not before me. Maybe I'm wrong. There were only 2 presses. There was a Vastex with the jack clamp, he called it, and there was a Richardson. You had one or the other, and those is from what I saw. And I was just stuck out here in Little Phoenix, Arizona. So maybe back in New York City, there was other machines available, but that was all you had in 1970.
When did Hopkins come around?
He was later on, probably. I'm thinking 70, 78, because I met Riley in 79, and he was the Ryanette then. Like he had long hair, and he was the guy, Riley Hopkins, and. I met him at Hollywood, Florida, at an SPA show.
At the SPA,
I had just started doing my seminars, and I went up to the guy. I didn't know him, and hey, I could sure use a press for my seminars. And he was that guy. Where do you want it? I'll send it to you. And so he was always that guy that was eager, and so we became good friends. He was the first guy I think I smoked dope with in the industry. This is cool. No, the first guy was Vern Hollebeck from Hollebeck Studios at the Anaheim show, because we had just come out with our book, and Scott and Pat Ressner were the hot kids for a ride, and he had a limousine, and we're like, wow, we have made it. We're driving around Anaheim in a limousine with a guy named Vern Hollebeck, and we're all getting high. And it was just one of those things. Sorry for rambling.
Now, I think the Vastex was considered the first press. I think he has the patent on it.
He did, because Mark posted some of those on Facebook.
That was about 1960. I bought a Vastex in 77, and I bought it from Advanced Process Supply, because they didn't have their own press yet.
Yeah.
And I used it for about 24 shirts, and then it sat in the corner for the rest of its life. Well, I needed to get out 100 shirts that morning, and it's like, this isn't happening. So I drove to Precision in New Jersey and bought an automatic that day.
Was it an oval? Because I know Precision in the old days had a circular.
At that time, Precision had 3 choices: a 4-color, a 5-color, or a 6-color. And I figured 4-color, that sounds pretty small. 6-color, that sounds big. I'll take a 5-color, which was probably the dumbest thing that you could buy at the time. But I remember I gave Len Herman $22,000 in cash in a brown paper bag. And
like a drug deal.
Yeah, he and Dave Jaffa went in the back, called it, counted it out, came up front, gave me a receipt for $18,000 and said, I'll deliver in a couple of weeks. Okay.
Right.
Wow.
Oh my God. In the day. Well, who made the first automatic? Was it Precision or was it Advance?
That's the big question. I don't know. When I went to my first show in 77, both of those companies were there. And so Advance had their Arrow, multi-printer, and Precision had its oval.
The oval, yeah.
And I don't know who came out first, but those were the 2 that were at that show. I don't know.
The guy that I saw the dryer with heat lamps. This is about 1970, believe it or not. Because I was doing transfers for a long time, and then I decided I need to learn how to screen print. And I went to this guy's shop, and he had a dryer with heat lamps, but in the corner was a press that was not an oval, but it went this way. It was an automatic that wasn't working, but this was 1970. And I sure thought it was a
Richardson
precision.
made something like that went around this
Could
way.
have been. Yeah.
They did, but I'm not sure if that was considered an automatic or not.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that. Well, anyway, long time ago.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
was
it.
trying to get in touch with, I pulled up Dave Jaffa's son, Greg, the other night on the internet because Precision paid me to hire him as my production manager because they wanted him out of Precision.
Yeah. Well,
So they paid half his salary to me so that I would take him in.
I think
And
Greg
so
was
he
a
was my production manager for about 2 years before he ended up going down to Atlantic City and becoming a dealer. And I guess he's still doing that to this day.
I met him a few times. Seemed like a loose cannon.
It was an interesting time, but Gavin Kidd was involved, but I think he came a little later on. I have to get in touch
Yeah.
with Gavin.
I think he would have come later.
Yeah, he did. The guys that I knew from back in my Precision days
Well,
all came in after I
Lynn-
was already
And
involved.
Lynn's dead from whatever electrocution or
Well,
whatever.
and Mark
Off his
Herman,
roof, or did he?
I mean, Mark Herman, but Mark Herman was such a young kid at that time that I don't know if he knew anything about the history of Precision.
Yeah. So fast forward, I'm curious, Ron, about the DTF. I was a transfer guy for a long time. I made millions of transfers, bootlegs too. I went from bootleg tapes to bootleg transfers. And
So you remember there was, I forget who the manufacturer was, but I think they were out of Florida. And they would say, if you had leftover transfers at the end of the season, we buy them back from you. And they ended up getting back more transfers or close to the amount that they actually made. So they figured out that someone in Chicago was bootlegging, even to the point of putting the copyright on the bottom of the transfer. And then they were sending them back for credit. And but I just remember reading about that story. And the guy, I think he was one of the few guys that really got in trouble. Like they went to his shop and he had a truckload of screens that they were taking to the.
Oh, that was Larry Rice from Grand Illusion.
Yeah.
So Larry Rice was
that.
one of my competitors back in the 70s. And Winterland walked in on him while he was printing rock and roll, bootleg rock and roll. And so he was up in Chicago. And so it was before the days of being formal, but he and his wife were running the company and they were doing bootleg rock and roll just like I was. And so he was one of my main competitors. But his name was Larry Rice.
So I remember someone telling me, and I don't know if maybe you guys can shed some light on this, but they said, I used to wonder, like in the 70s, why did so many transfers have glitter in them? They would have like a design, and then there'd be part of the design would be a glitter. And someone told me that the reason they did that was because so the bootleggers couldn't photograph the transfers and reproduce them easily. The glitter would screw up the photography, or is that just a wives' tale?
I think because in the 70s they called them combo glitters. They were a design with glitter here and there. I think it was just trendy. Maybe I'm wrong. You could be right.
Well,
but
that
I'm
makes
looking
great sense though, because you couldn't photograph it. I love that answer.
Yeah, it could be right too. I've never thought of. I mean, back in those days, it was the litho. The rock and roll stuff that wasn't screen printed was litho printed, and it was this it was this rubbery, heavy. I did transfers. A guy named Dick Dagries in L.A. did some lithos for me because it was all offset printed and then backed in plastisol, and that was the big deal. If you you look at any early, other than Charlie's kind of stuff, what he was doing, screen printing, but you look at the early rock and roll stuff, litho transfers, whether it be Kiss or whoever the heck it was. But now I'm conflicted about DTF. I feel like I'm the guy that brought DTG to the market, and I'm the guy that helped DuPont make the white ink. And then somebody decided, well, let's print it on film, but it still feels like a transfer to me. And as I guess I'm old school. I want that screen print feel, but everybody's doing DTF. Are you doing DTF, Ron?
Yep.
Yes, I've kind of transitioned away from screen print. I have all the equipment, and
Oh, you're one of those guys.
I'm one of the enemy. But here's the thing. If the job's less than 144 pieces, we're doing DTF.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's over 144, then we'll do traditional screen printing. And I do have some customers who just they I don't know if they don't like the idea or they don't like the feel or whatever, but here's what's going on. The DTFs are getting better all the time so that we can do a DTF now and we can hit it with uh, uh, sandpaper, drives the DTF into the fabric, and some of them you can't tell. You could tell, maybe Greaves could tell, but somebody on the street wouldn't.
What do
wouldn't
you mean
know.
sandpaper?
So you put your
You
your transfer on
Yeah.
the DTF, you peel off the backing sheet, then you hit it again with a piece of sandpaper, and with the sandpaper,
Literally
it-
sandpaper.
literally sandpaper, and that drives the
I have no idea.
film into the shirt so that you get a good feel. And I mean, it adds time, and we don't do that on every job, but on some jobs where the people are particular about it, we'll do that.
Wow.
And the
So
other
what
thing
kind of-
is, if
What
you
kind of
do
grit
your,
do you use?
it's pretty thick. Like I don't know the number, maybe 80 or something, but
Yeah.
but you can, or you can use a canvas bag and do that, and it'll transfer
yeah.
the thing. Tracy, what do you do? Do you do a post press on any of yours? She's
Uh,
shaking.
you're-
Volumes.
Yeah,
There
I'm
you go.
shaking my head. Yes, I heard of the technique even with the skateboard tape.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but I heard that's a good one.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet because none of my customers really like prefer like DTF over screen print. So I usually give them DTF and
Are you
Well-
buying? Are you printing your own, Tracy? Or are you buying them?
I'm buying DTF.
Who you buy from? FM
um,
or
Yeah, I used to do stalls and I will when it comes for a more like professional job for stalls. But I have a place for like 20 minutes from my house. It's called Art DTF and they really have a good quality DTF too.
right?
So,
Ron.
yeah.
I use primarily Supercolor and stalls.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
So I've got a friend in the business. He bought a DTF printer, and I think he's had it a year now and he hasn't unpacked it yet. Because you need to
DTG machines.
you need to vent it. You need to
Yeah.
it's not an easy thing to do, I don't think. But
No.
and I'm at a stage
You
I'd
have to
rather
have a climate controlled room for it. Yeah.
yeah. So
Just like with DTG,
and
Yeah, pretty
one of the keys is when you create the artwork, if you put holes in the artwork, then you don't get that rubbery feel.
Yeah.
It's
like making a traditional underbase.
right.
You know what I'm seeing though too is a lot of ads for heat presses. I think stalls must be in hog heaven because everybody's buying a heat press now for DTF.
Yep.
And I'm seeing tons of ads for home use stuff you'd buy at Michael's Art Supply for
Right.
home printers. And I've had a couple of my customers saying, man, they're losing some of these small jobs to mom and pop working on their house that they're doing.
Yeah, I like to think of that like the analogy of people can mow their own lawn, but there's still a lot of landscapers out there making a living. So it's like it's one of those things, and it is to have there is a much lower entry point. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. You can buy a Cricut and a little heater for $100,
Well,
I,
yeah, I think, DTF is one of those things that's not going to go away for a long time, if it ever does. It was
Especially
kind of
if they
interesting.
improve it, if they improve the feel of the adhesives and the thickness of the film and that stuff.
Yeah, they seem to be moving forward on that. I just read something about one of them where they're using more liquid as opposed to the powder, which allows them to hold more detail. The problem that when they first came out with the liquid, if your room got too warm, the adhesive would go everywhere. And so that was the end of that for a while. But I guess now they're working on some new things that are supposedly going to be able to hold halftones.
It's funny, you know, the powder has been around. I used to sell the powder when I was a supplier. Transfer.
You know, I mean,
55 gallon.
Around for a long time.
It just ground up hot melt glue. We buy 55-gallon drums of it and put it in little cans and sell that can of powder for like $50.
Yeah.
We thought we were selling cocaine. It was like amazing what we got for the powder. And that goes back, God, when was I a supplier? 20, 25 years. Charlie, you probably had it when you were a supplier. The powder's been around forever.
Of course, you know, anyone who owned a supply house sold the powder adhesive.
Yeah, it was a hot
no one
deal.
knew how, quote unquote, how dangerous it was. Of course, the amount that people were using was a minuscule amount. You know, you dip your transfer into
put it in a box and dip your
spray
transfer
and
in
take off the excess.
Yeah, in the day. Oh my God. What do you think? DTG will be the DTF will be the what kills screen printing? I mean, people thought DTG would be, but it didn't. I thought DTG would kill screen printing.
What DTF has done is eliminated a lot of DTG.
I'm sure. Yeah,
it has.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just devastated that side.
Yeah.
You know, the number of DTG machines on the market that that are being sold. You have Brother and you have Cornette. And I don't know if you have an Epson. That's about it.
They're probably the three players, I think. You know, I don't know. It's just interesting how it changed. I was surprised. Kind of caught me off guard. The DTF. What the hell is this? Yeah. And then everybody's talking about it. I didn't go to the last ISS show. I think Greaves went to the ISS show, and I think you said, Richard, that there was DTF everywhere.
Oh,
yeah. But it's also devastated the manual press business.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that.
It's definitely taken its toll. The last DAC show I did, I'd say 75% of the booths were DTF.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it just incredible amount. But
I think it's hurt the separators too, because my separation business is kind of declining slowly. Because now you can do full color or DTF, and you don't need a guy like me to color separate for you.
Well, I mean, there's some better. I was invited up to M&R to go through their DTF, and so they have two of them. They have the 4-color, but they also have their 6/8, which is a expanded gamut one, which picks up colors that are amazing.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of those things that's not going to go away for a long, long time, because it's quite an easy situation in the sense of once you've made the investment, you can just crank it out, and the cost per unit per linear foot is pretty low.
It's low
if
for
you're
sure.
Doing it in house.
Yeah. I bought some for my band, for some band shirts. I didn't like it because it was a black work.
We keep losing you.
I bought it as a DTF, and I didn't like it. Am I gone? Am I here?
No, you're on.
You're
You're
back.
good.
My internet. It says my internet's unstable.
But do you think that's just history? So it's like it's hard to adopt stuff that is not the real deal, and it's like, no, this doesn't feel right. And
I think for us,
I struggle
purists,
with that.
I think for us purists, it doesn't feel right. But for the new guys, it's probably another print on a shirt.
Yeah, they would know the difference. What's
Yeah,
interesting is, as far as screen print goes, for the smaller runs and stuff, DTF is definitely going to take it over. But when you go overseas and you look at what they're doing there, they're not touching DTF because they can't. The volume that they do is so immense that DTF just wouldn't fit into that situation. It's too labor intensive for them. And
I was surprised to see a Rock, because Rock seems to kind of be the new kids on. And Rock has this machine now that the suctions, it picks up the transfer and it drops it, and it and it's all automated, and then it peels it off. And I'm going, this industry has changed.
There are a bunch
And
of
then a shirt unloader unloads it automatically, goes into a folder, and it's hands free. And I
Right,
thought, man,
I know the one that when I went up to M&R, theirs is able to do about 300 to 400 pieces an hour.
well, like an automatic then.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm
Wow.
sure Rock
Wow.
is the same. I saw another one from other overseas that was doing the exact same thing, and they just crank away.
Yeah,
So,
it's
you know,
pretty-
for someone who wants to just get into serious DTF stuff, between the machine and the automatic indexer, whatever you want to call it, uh, you know, for about, I don't know, a little over 100 grand, you're up in business and you're
Yeah.
cranking out a substantial number.
it's crazy. I look at all these machines, heat pressing the shirt to flatten the fibers down. Before my company went broke, I had a patent pending on heat pressing a shirt before you inkjet on it, and the patent kind of fell to the wayside because I had other financial issues I was dealing with. And I think now I see all these machines have heat presses everywhere. And we were working on all that when we were designing stuff, and had the patent applications. And well, what the hell? As we all know, life goes on. So
Yeah.
there you have it.
Yeah.
Ron,
Excuse me?
how big is your shop?
It's very small. There's 3 employees.
Oh, you're smarter than me.
And I got about 2,000 square feet.
Oh my God, I love it.
And
I miss those days.
yeah, I enjoy them because
Yeah.
you know, nobody's going to put us out of business. We used to have larger clients that, you know, they'd end up being 25% of our revenue, and then
Yeah.
if they moved, you'd have to replace them with somebody else. And you know, as I get older, I'm like, why am I chasing after these bigger jobs? I can just, if you do the smaller jobs, you can charge for them because
Yep.
they're not as price sensitive because, you know, no one's going to put out to bid a 3 dozen job. So,
Yeah.
and then I just kind of focused on that. And I've had some luck with, doing shirts for private equity companies, and they're like, they don't care what the shirt costs. They just
Yeah.
Probably not.
No, not at all.
they just want the best quality and I do little. So I got these DTFs. They're tiny and they go on the sleeve of the garment, and it's like I'm like, you don't want that on the left chest. You don't want that on the no. We just want a little thing here.
Yeah. They're
And-
talking
and-
millions and you're talking dollars, right?
Yeah, we did.
That's
We do.
funny.
Some of the shirts we can't get because you can't buy them in our industry. It's like Viore or the higher end, like a $150 golf shirts. But we did one for Peter Millar. They wanted Peter Millar shirts. They're like $150 for a golf shirt, and they don't bat an eye. That's what they want, and they'll pay for it.
Yeah.
And if they bring the garments to us, I'm like, hey, you got to pay the bottling fee. Like if you go to a restaurant, that's, it's $10 before we even talk about how we're going to decorate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we, so that's been pretty good.
Are you in the trenches printing? You
No,
personally?
no, I try not to,
That
but
ship sailed or what?
occasionally she, the, the woman
They're
in
in
the
trouble when
press
they're
asked,
behind.
asked me to do a jacket, and I screwed it up.
Yes,
Yeah.
so you're smart. So,
But
oh my God.
Well,
Well, it's been a fun ride, I think, for all of us,
yeah,
And Tracy's
Yeah.
Tracy's the new kid here. She's working. We're just hanging out, having beers.
she's
Telling
smart
stories.
though. She's keeping her eyes open and listening to these old
Yeah.
fucks.
Yeah.
She shows up at Shirt Lab and takes notes, and
Yeah, I'm
she's
enjoying
doing
the
it. She's doing it
conversation.
right. Tracy, tell them about how you use Chat GPT to do your designs.
We do a number of things. We have even though we haven't had it yet, in the minute, we usually do an AI challenge with my teammates and I. And we use ChatGPT, Midjourney, quite a few, Ideogram, whichever platform they feel comfortable with, and they might mix the platform. So we give a prompt or a quote or a scripture every month. And then when a certain period comes, you got a certain period to create your design. And when that certain period comes, then we all get together and we film it and we video and we do a big reveal. However, we use ChatGPT. I'm learning how to use ChatGPT better and AI better because I keep getting these commercials on my social media talking about people over 50 use ChatGPT like it's Google.
That's true.
Yeah. So I find myself in that category sometimes, but I'm learning how to leverage it. Like my idea right now is to, but I haven't got a chance to sit down and do it because I just thought about it this morning as I keep getting those videos on my social media, is just to sit down and say, hey, ChatGPT, I am a printer that use DTF and I have run a print shop, and pretty much how can I use you to leverage my business better? And let ChatGPT
I
give
like
out,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Run with it, and then
Yep.
you can decide whether you want to adopt or not adopt. And
Yep, yep. But as far as the AI designs, we just do go through the regular process. Like I'm not like a designer,
Mhm.
but what I try to see in my mind, like I'm working on a concert T-shirt for Kingdom Bound right now, and ChatGPT wasn't giving me the results I wanted, so I got to take a different route. Or maybe I wasn't
Try,
given the prompts. Maybe I wasn't
try
putting
mid journey.
prompts.
Try mid journey, or go on to Marshall has a thing on Circle, I think it is, on Tuesday afternoons,
Mm-hmm.
and he's great because he'll help you along. Well, you know him,
Yeah,
but
yep,
but
yep, yep, yep.
he knows he knows how to use mid journey, so it's like unbelievable.
I know he's like
He
the
can dial it
creator of
in.
the journey.
Yeah.
He's the guy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tracy, have you been to some of the shirt labs in?
The Shirt Lab events, live events, not one. I'm about to say not yet, but one. When you guys were, was it Texas a year and a half ago?
We
I
had
don't
one
know.
in Fort Worth, yes.
Yeah, I think I was at the one in Texas. I won't be able to come to the AI summit, but I'm going to come virtually
And where are you at, Tracy?
in New Jersey.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yep.
So I'm the holdout here in sunny 118-degree Arizona.
Oh my God, you have no greenery.
But we live here, I mean, no, we love it.
Yeah,
I like to see green and trees. I like to go back to the Midwest and visit,
yeah.
but we when you live in the desert, you kind of love it. It's something about it. I don't know what it is.
Really?
It's kind of addictive.
Okay.
We've
If
had
you
people
like
from our,
it, I love it.
have you been out my way?
Yeah, I've been to Arizona one time.
You didn't like it?
It was dry.
We joke, it's a dry heat.
I know.
We had a
Yeah.
dust storm last night. We're like, and they call them haboobs now. We never called them haboob. As a kid, it's a friggin' dust storm,
A boob.
and it looks nasty when you see them on TV, but it's just a dust storm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate to run, but the guy from Levelware is out. He's going to make
You
a
know what,
presentation to me. So,
Ron, thanks so much for being on. I'm going to shut
no,
this whole thing down anyway. If
Thank-
anybody does want to recap on it, it'll be on my website in a
Awesome.
couple of days, so anybody can watch the whole song and dance that we went through.
Thank you. It's been great catching up with you guys, and
It's been
and
fun.
I'll see Richard later today. And it's nice to see you, Scott and Tracy.
Too.
You guys
Terrific.
take care.
Thanks all.
Bye bye.
In the company.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy, guys.
Bye.